Welcome to Mindful School Marketing, your go-to podcast for personal and professional growth.
We're school marketers, business owners, and moms passionate about connecting other school professionals with tools and strategies for success.
We love solving problems, exploring new ideas, and thinking outside the box. Let's transform your school and life starting right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindful School Marketing. This is a live podcast. I'm Kara Clays of Design TLC.
And I'm Aubrey of Easy School Marketing.
Today, we are doing something different, if you can't tell. We are doing a live episode here at the Small School Leaders Conference hosted by Aubrey and her amazing team. Now we're on day 3 of the conference, and it's been chock full of amazing presenters and information and great questions from what I've seen. But today, we are going to have a little panel discussion.
Yeah, I think what we realized was that school marketers are always, looking for those real honest insights from other schools. Like they want to know what really works, what's working, what's worth the time, what have you tried and it was disastrous, or what have you tried that moves the needle? And that's why we really wanted to bring this panel to the conference and to our podcast listeners. We hear you out there. We see you. We're excited to have this amazing group right here of school marketers here today to talk through a few of the hottest topics in independent school marketing right now and what it actually looks like in their day-to-day roles.
Yes. So before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. We know you're going to have questions along the way, and we want to hear them. This is a great fun for us. We don't usually get to, hear from people in real time. So please drop your questions in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll answer them at the end. And now let's meet our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's start today with Lori Kriegel.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending where you are. Lori Kriegel. I am the Chief Communications Officer at Worcester School, which is located in Danbury, Connecticut. It is a co-ed day school for students in grades 5 through 12. We have about 325 students, and I am actually in year 14 at this school. So,
fun fact, I grew up right near Danbury.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so next time you're back in the area, we got to do it in real time.
I was born in Danbury Hospital, as a matter of fact.
Small world. So small.
Right.
Well, I think I'm up next. I'm Andrea Jenkins, and I am the Director of Enrollment Management and Marketing and Communications at St. Luke's Episcopal School in San Antonio, Texas. We are a pre-K 3 through 8th grade school of 260 students and growing by the minute, which is so exciting. And I have been in education, independent school education, for 20 plus years. As a teacher, come through the education side as a teacher, curriculum director, lower school director, but this is my second year working with enrollment and marketing.
Great. And I guess I'm the last one. I'm Barb Doyle, also logged in here from Connecticut today, where it is freezing cold. It's been brutal. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at Renbrook School. We're located in West Hartford, Connecticut, and we are a co-ed day school, preschool through grade 8, about 375 students. And I've been at Renbrook for 7 years now, been in independent school marketing for over 10, and been in marketing in general for longer than I care to admit. And I guess the other thing to mention, too, is Lori and I are both part of the Connecticut Association of Independent Schools. We are on the Commission for School Advancement, and the goal of the commission is to provide professional development opportunities and colleague community opportunities for all of the advancement professionals for independent schools in the state. Lori and I co-chair that together, and we provide conferences and learning opportunities and all of that for marketing and communications, enrollment, and development professionals. So we're very much engrossed in this world every day. So
it's a great organization. You guys do wonderful things. All right, let's kick off our panel discussion today with a big question. If you could wave a magic wand and outsource one thing tomorrow, what would it be and why?
All right, I'll jump in on that one. So, we're all small shops, right? So the biggest thing I would outsource in a heartbeat is all of my data. Now, don't get me wrong. I get data from my partners, of course, from like the different partners that we work with in our marketing world, but everything, just outsource everything. Make my life easier so that I can make decisions faster and quicker, everything from my spend, my strategy, my ROI, all of it. Give me one person who could, one shop to do all of that instead of my various partners, and then combining it with the things that I'm trying to pull on my own and keep up with on a day-to-day basis as well. So give me that data in a tiny little bow, and I would be very happy.
I echo that one, Lori. Absolutely. Data would be for sure. And the other thing is that I already do outsource. So I've been doing this for a long time, but I think being small shops, we are only as strong as our partners, right? That we have working with us. And the digital advertising, who knows how to place those kinds of ads? I think it's a big challenge. And so we do outsource that one. Give a little plug because they've been on here too to Enroll Media Group out of Worcester, Mass. So they're terrific at digital marketing, Angie Ward and her whole crew. And that takes a tremendous amount off my plate to have them just manage that and for me not to have to worry.
We also outsource digital marketing, but one of the things that we outsource as well is our photography and video production and publications. So those are all things that we work with local partners on having their expertise come in. Now, we are also looking at, the benefits of us also having more knowledge in those realms. So we're not always having to outsource, but that is something that we are outsourcing because they can just do things so much faster and easier than we can doing all that with all the other things we have going on here.
So interesting. Thank you for sharing. This is kind of along the same lines, but a little different. If your marketing budget doubled, what would you fund first? People, content, ads, tech, or research? And walk us through your picks.
Yeah, I'll take this. I absolutely would fund a person first because I feel like in our small school, every employee is sort of like a Swiss Army knife, if you will. We do so many more things outside of our roles. And so the benefits of having a person, it serves the role of supporting our marketing team, but also does a lot of other things too, helping with events, even things like carpool, those things that you can't get when you outsource something or that you have a tech piece for that. So first and foremost, it would be hiring another person and building out our team, but very strategically.
I would agree with you, Andrea. I would do the same thing. Like, give me another person because one, we're all learning and growing in this lovely world of marketing every day. So like another person to come along and grow with us. And then it's just to be able, it's always like you just want to do more and produce more. And so having another set of hands on the ground in-house here, not just someone external, but the person that knows your culture, knows your school, and is on the ground with you would be like super important.
Definitely. Yeah. Same here. It's, we know that marketing departments are often underfunded and under-resourced. So one of the things that our group for the CIAS group we were just talking about this week is keeping a list of all the things that you never get to, right? Because we wear so many hats that can then support your request for an additional body or half person or whatever it might be would be super important. Marketing departments tend to be pretty small.
Great answers. Seems like you all are on the same page for everything. Let's see if we can get you to have some different thoughts on this next question. What's your content system right now for staying consistent without recreating the wheel?
So I'll jump in on this one. So first of all, I'll say we're a Google school. So I'm going to preface this with a Google product, and it's how my brain thinks as well. So I'm a big fan of sheets to use for my content tracking and creating tables and categories in order to do that. So we have a sheet that I'll use, for instance, that has, I'm going to say, 5 different main content buckets or themes that we're going to focus on this year. So they're color-coded and named bucket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then and using that sheet to track along the way, what's the specific focus? So like if one bucket area is community, who's not talking about community on the campus, right? So, but what's the focus of that? And what's the placement? What's the day of the week? What's the date that it went? And where is it being used? So is it a testimonial focus, for instance? Is it used more? Is it used in social? Does it live on your website? Is it part of a blog post? Is it part of your email outreach? And all the different places that it's used. And so by using a sheet to track that, I can make sure that I'm spreading out our content themes in the I'll say the pie chart that we want them spread out through the year. So part of the strategy in our planning stage of what we want to talk about. And then I'm using this tracker as a way to kind of make sure oh my gosh, I haven't talked about community in 3 weeks. Wow, how did that slip through? But this doesn't let it slip through. It's the point. So that, and I'm using my hands because I'm looking at it, but like, and this is how I kind of like track out what we're using and when to make sure that we're not missing the important threads that we want to make sure that we're talking about in our marketing pieces.
And like Lori, we are a Google school as well. And Lori, I think I want a copy of your spreadsheet. I feel like I need this, like as a resource for myself. But
wait,
one of the
friends.
yeah, there we go. One of the things that we've used here is we've really utilized Google Calendar in a lot of in a really robust way. We figured the features within Google Calendar allow us to collaborate and track out what we are posting to social, the emails we're sending, the texts we're sending, so that we can look to see also how frequently are we communicating with our families? Are we sending 3 texts on the same day to families, or are we spacing out our communications? What are we highlighting everything that is all in one grade level? Are we really kind of spreading the love of what we're spotlighting to show our entire community? So making sure that in using Google Calendar to help with that, we use the description part a lot more. We can link to photos, we can do and put blurbs for different texts and stuff. So we use that as a collaborative tool, which I think has gone largely underutilized in the past. And so that's been really helpful for us.
That's great. One of the things that I like to think about more from a higher level rather than the specifics of the tasks that you do is, we've heard the acronym from many of our other marketing friends, CORE or COPE. Some people, use it different ways, but it's create once, repurpose everywhere, or create once, post everywhere, whichever way you want to talk about it. It's a great way to keep track of, are you hitting all your channels? Are you, if you've written a really great blog post, you can repurpose that for Instagram, for Facebook, for LinkedIn. Obviously it's living on your website, but I like that whole idea of CORE or COPE, create once and post everywhere.
That's so interesting. I think what you all just shared was that you're all doing different things, right? You're doing what works best for you, given the platforms you have and given like the scope of your work. So that's great. And I want to mention that Lori very generously threw in a template because someone had just asked, do you have a template for, that system? So thank you, Lori.
And I say, I'm just going to preface that, like, that's built with how my brain works to keep it organized. And with working different departments and people on your campus, make it whatever works for you. So it's just whatever way that will help keep you organized. Just find the best way to do that so that it just helps you be more efficient in the long run. Don't feel like, oh, I have to do it that way. Like, just do what works for you.
Yeah. And I think that's so true. What works for you and what works for your community. I always think of the people who are like, I use Google, but we have an Outlook community. Like, it doesn't always work, right?
We're a Microsoft school.
So curious, this is going to be a hot one here. How are you using AI right now in marketing/advancement, and how has it changed your workload and priorities?
Oh my gosh. I'll tackle this one first. AI has tremendously changed the world of marketing. I feel like it is moving at the speed of light. And it's really changed the world of independent school marketing in general, particularly over the last year. So I'm using it daily. And I think it's, two sides of the same coin. It's saving me tremendous amounts of time in some respects, but at the same time, it's driving me to have to produce differently and more than I was previously. So I think back to, we redid our website back 3 years ago with Tara, by the way, of Design TLC. Fabulous website. Take a look at it. Highly recommend working with her. That little aside plug. But anyway, when we redid that website, we really thought about it 3 years ago, and we said, parents are not clicking 3 or 4 clicks and they're not reading all of this content. They're not reading paragraphs of text. We want to streamline this. Well, now fast forward 3 years and AI is driving us to have that content somewhere, right? In order for us to show up in the, it's no longer just SEO, it's GEO as well. So for the generative engine optimization, which is that paragraph that shows up at the top every time you search for something now, that has forced us into what they're referring to as a zero-click environment, right? People are no longer scrolling down that list of 10 schools. They're reading the paragraph at the top. So my question is always, am I showing up in the paragraph at the top for the things that parents in my region, in my, geographics, are they finding me? Well, in order to find me, I have to prove to the AI bots that I'm the expert, or I, Renbrook School, am the expert in what they're looking for. So I don't know if you've all heard the acronym EEAT, but that's a new acronym in AI. So that stands for experience, expertise, authenticity, and trust. And that's what the chatbots are looking for when they are finding and generating the answer for the much more complex questions that parents are asking these days, right? So how do I show that I've got, Renbrook is experienced, it's got the expertise, it's very trustworthy, and it's very authentic? Through content, right? So there's your full circle. Comes back again that I'm using AI to help me drive that creation of content in a much more efficient sort of way, but it's also driving me to produce more than I was producing given its parameters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll jump in here just for a quick second, even though I'm not officially a panelist, just to say that, what I'm seeing is that AI is actually picking up, giving schools better results than organic search. So you may come up with in an AI search and not come up high in an organic Google search, just because of the way that the algorithms are working. So I would highly recommend that people go and do a couple of AI search tests for their school and see where they're coming up. And this is where what you're saying, Barb, is, people always want to say we have too much content, we have too much content. And I usually push back and say, if you don't have the content, then Google's not going to know what you're about. So, finding that balance is a really good point that you made, Barb.
So true, Tara. I think two of the main ones we're finding are blogs are essential, and FAQs are essential, but not just one FAQ page, but sprinkled throughout your website. That's the kind of thing that the bots are going to find. And we're all we've had more conversations about everybody who's looking at installing chatbots on our site at this point, right? So parents can get these quick answers. We wouldn't have thought of doing that 5 years ago. We're definitely doing it now. So I'll share one little tip with you about the blog post that worked really well for me. At the beginning of the school year, I said at our faculty and staff orientation week, got up to do my marketing piece, and I said, okay, I'm going to ask something of you all this year. And I handed out these little pieces of paper, a little like 4 to a 8 by 10, and it had several things to fill out: your name, your department, your position, what you teach, or what administrative department you work in, and then a topic that you feel you're an expert on and you'd like to be able to talk about, whether that's curriculum related, administratively related, financial aid related. It could be anything. And then the last question I asked is, what's your favorite treat? So I had everybody fill these out, and I have a spreadsheet now that I work from, and I go and meet with people on a regular basis, bring them their favorite treat for spending time with me. And I sit with my phone and I record, not an interview style, but just tell me about this. Tell me your area of expertise. I then take that recording. I have it, transcribed into text. I put that into my chat. I prefer ChatGPT right now. There are a lot of platforms, but if you don't have a paid platform, I highly recommend one in marketing, whatever the choice is for you. But I put it into chat along with, let's say, for instance, I just did one with our director of our math program. It ended up being a great blog post and really feeding this EEAT. And I sat with her, and then the things that she referred to, like math counts or Olympiad math and things like that, I put the links for that in the chat, along with the prompt that, act as the Renbrook School marketing director and create me a blog post. It was amazing what it can come up with. And I even tell it to make sure to give me my keywords and my meta descriptions, and make sure I'm all set for my SEO on that. And so I just keep doing this on repeat. And it has been a wonderful way to generate content beyond kind of what's in my brain cells, right? So
Well,
that's been really helpful.
I'll spin it a little different direction. So in some ways that I've used AI is in my market research. So I've used AI, which saved me a ton of time and hours. I'm just pulling up like a thread that I saved on analyzing competitor messaging. And so it then helped break it down, and I asked it to identify for me, what are my competitors' main value props, their key programs are emphasizing, the emotional tone of their messaging, and any unique positioning that they're offering. And through the whole conversation back and forth with AI and all the things that it's noting, I mean, by the end, it's kicking out patterns, gaps and opportunities for my own school, things that we can, I never negative bash against another competitor school, but things that they're doing and we're doing differently, and how we can position ourselves as the better offering for X or whatever it is. It outlines gaps and opportunities. These are things obviously we could find on our own without AI, but the time, I mean, this was like instant
Hours.
that this would come forward versus me scrolling through competitor X website and analyzing by hand all of their messaging and trying to figure out all the things they're pushing out on all the different platforms out there. AI did it really fast for me. So, and these are just, and it's more learning how to prompt it the right way so that you can get the results that are going to be beneficial to you. Now, have I taken every one of these things and said, this is what I have to do at Worcester School? No, but it's given me things to think about with our team here and what strategically is the right messaging and things that we want to put out there that puts our value proposition more at the forefront for our audience, for our families that are looking to come to a school like ours.
That one's a great one to do, Lori. I've done the same. And if you haven't, those of you listening on the call today, if you haven't done that, just plug that in and ask it to do a competitive analysis for you. It is absolutely, my eyes were bugging out.
Yeah. One of the ways that we have really leveraged ChatGPT, first of all, I agree with Lori and Barb of, if you're not using the paid version, use the paid version. You'll find so much value in it. But I actually spent time this summer building out a GPT about on brand for us. So having it learn our brand profile, and that way we can take things like emails or messaging or the different things, programs that we're doing that our teachers they're not thinking necessarily about how can this be marketed. They shouldn't be. That's not their, that's my job, is to think about how do I take this, put it on brand, put our brand voice, and make sure that this is aligning to the messages that we want to send out there. And so having a GPT that already really knows us and it knows our brand voice is really critical. And so I appreciate that that's already I took the time to build that out. So now it's working with me and in tandem to the work that I'm doing.
That's a great point, Andrea. And I think another one is train your model, right? Now, just
Right.
specifically train it to say, here's my website, here's our mission statement, here's this, here's that. Know Renbrook School extremely well, and then just keep prompting it to say, well, here's one of the things that I do with every single chat that I do. I always, and I credit to Bremen Schneider for this. I always say, ask me any clarifying questions so you can best answer this prompt. And it will throw me back some questions that things I hadn't thought to put in there. So he calls it the race plus Q theory. Brendan does. It's how you can look up his race plus Q theory. It's how to prompt your chat. But always at the end, ask it, please ask me questions so I can do the best job I can.
Yeah, Brendan shared some great tips a couple of days ago, I think it was. There was also, I forget who it was, Aubrey, who did the one on automations too, which is another amazing use for AI. Yeah, so many. One of the really interesting things that I think it was during Brendan, someone asked about students who don't have a consent form to have their photograph shared, and you can use AI to take one student out of a picture. You can use it for so many things. Yeah, it is. Yeah, carefully.
Carefully. Yes, there are downsides. And it's if you're not involved, I actually am sitting on the steering committee at my school for developing our policies and all. And I think it's not a bad role for marketing people to be involved in that at some level, where however that works for you at your school. But we need to do it carefully, responsibly. It can be an incredibly powerful and wonderful tool, but it certainly does have its downsides.
All right. I know we could probably talk about AI for a long time because there are so many amazing things that it can do. I think I did a talk on it a couple of years ago and it's so obsolete now. But yeah, there's so much. Let's talk about paid advertising because you guys all
Mhm.
touched on the fact that you all do it. And I know a lot of small schools don't. It's very intimidating. But what are you doing with paid ads right now? And is it working for you? First of all, how are you knowing if it's working for you? Obviously, if your enrollment's going up, right? I think, looking at engagement numbers is one thing, but having new students applying and enrolling is another. So what are you using to drive traffic and what are you finding working or not working?
We love our digital marketing and paid advertising partner that we have. So we partner with Truth Tree, and it's been wonderful. It is definitely providing a not only getting the paid advertising out there, but they're a thought partner with us, which has been really, really incredible. And so I definitely see them as an extension of our team. One of the things we've been really successful with them is we had a big speaking event where we brought in some really well-known speakers on parenting, and we had opened this event up to the community. So it was a recruitment event of sorts, but really to engage the larger community and bring them to our campus. And so Truth Tree worked with us on how to design ads for it, how to pull people into it, and so that people who weren't getting those word of mouth invites that still drive so much of our people coming to us, that it was reaching outside of that. And so we did really targeted event specific marketing, and Truth Tree was fabulous in helping us design ads in a way that were really compelling, but also really sound in best practices. And those are the things that we don't necessarily aren't necessarily always up to speed in the best practices, especially with AI and other elements that may be constantly changing. And so having a partner walk alongside us with that has been a real game changer. And we definitely ask the question, how did you find us? And we are getting more and more people finding us through search and through our Instagram and our meta ads.
Mhm. Great. Saying where we love our Google ads. I mentioned earlier that we've been working with Enroll Media Group. I've been with Angie and her crew for about 3 years now. Between that and my new website, we are at our highest enrollment in 10 years, which is amazing. We get really fabulous response from our digital advertising, both our Google ads, display ads, and as well as our meta ads. And, we do the whole thing. I'm very curious and really want to add to that some mobile targeting. And also, I think we need to all start looking at the CTV, right? People have cut the cord and they're streaming, and that presents us with many opportunities now. But I think if you're not investing in digital advertising these days, it is a huge miss. And having a strong partner. We're small shops. We're only as strong as our best vendor partnerships. It's an extension of who we are and how we do our work.
Yeah, and definitely, I'll chime in. Yeah, your digital partner is so important. We use Final Site. We're a Final Site school, and we use them for a chunk of our digital advertising as well. And are very happy with our relationship with them for a long time. But beyond that, I think it's so important that as small shops that we also find each other, right? That we find our network, we find our peers. Like, who's your tribe? Who's your go-to people, right? So like Barb actually is one of my go-to people. Like, we've met years ago
We
and through
talk
our
a
work
lot.
with Connecticut, we do bond a lot. So it's who's your go-to person that right, it's not your partner that you're paying, but who can I just text, pick up the phone, email, call, like a quick question, a quick go-to.
Yeah.
And I have a small group like that. There's a group through Easy School Marketing, Aubrey. There's a
Mhm.
small group, like they're go-to people, and that I say, have your tribe locally, have your tribe not locally, right? Because it's really important to kind of have that vantage and that input from just outside like your world as well, your immediate recruitment world for your community. So I think that's really important to have that peer support.
Definitely. We're very lucky here in Connecticut. We have a very active learning community through our Connecticut Association of Independent Schools, the commission that Lori and I sit on, and we meet every 2 weeks. And the key to that, and I would encourage every one of you to adopt this approach and view of this. We are colleagues before we're competitors. If for the most part, I'm not going to lose, 100 students to my competitor down the street because we talk and we support one another. So having a really great network, I think is, we're a niche market, and having a great network is so important.
I love that.
Yeah, that's so important. I think because it can feel isolating. I've been in the role. I know it. It can feel so isolating. So having those networks and those communities is key, not only for the support, but also for the information and the constant. I mean, marketing is one of the fastest changing roles in schools, I think. And like we're trying to stay on top of it all, and like with like one person or half a person or a small team, and that's unrealistic if we don't have these outside communities. I'd love to shift to some Q questions that came in. I know we have a few minutes left. I want to make sure we listen to our audience too. So one member said, do you source photos or content from teachers who are already capturing and sharing content with classroom parents? If yes, do you have a system?
Yes, and yes. We couldn't do it without our teachers to capture it. We can't be everywhere at once, right? It's just not possible. So we actually created an email. So it's, just marketing@renbrook.org. And so the teachers can write from their phones, it just is like a text. They can send us things right from their phones. We ask them to add a line of content so we know what's going on. But our mailbox is full every day with that. And we also, we really try to take the time to thank those people. And, just they're part of our extended team. I don't know what we'd do without them.
And I rely on, I'll say, like my heavy hitters, my go-to teachers that I have, it's all about the relationship, right? Like who do you have? It's important to have relationships with your faculty on your campus. And so those that I have the best relationships with are the go-to ones where I'm like, here's a folder in Google Drive. Go ahead and plop it up. I have one teacher that says, can you give me that folder again? And I'll just keep snapping pictures and put them in there and just let you know when I add something. I'm like, fabulous, great, thanks. So it's providing whatever the easy way is for them to do it so that it works for them. And then they're happy to contribute and share things with you.
And there's always going to be some that stand out, right? That are just definitely going to do it all the time.
Yeah. We use Seesaw in our lower school, and the marketing team has sort of admin level permissions on Seesaw, so we can go in and grab a lot of the pictures that teachers are already doing. Again, not asking teachers to do something additional or different than what they're already doing in the first place, but us going in and saying, okay, looking at that calendar I had talked about before, where we say, okay, we really haven't spotlighted second grade in a while, let's say. So let's go into second grade Seesaw. Let's find some different content that is already living there and using a platform like that to pull photos, but also the blurbs and a write-up about what's happening in those photos.
We do the same, Andrea. We have Seesaw in our beginning school and homeroom in our lower school. So we have admin privileges and we go in and pull from there. Upper school is a little bit more, we rely more on the faculty to send it to us. But the other thing that we do is we are part of our calendaring meeting. We have a calendar meeting every 2 weeks that really encompasses every department of the school. And Heather, my social media manager, goes to that calendar meeting. And if she looks at her calendar and says, I'm not gonna be able to be at that event, she can right there task someone, can you snap a few shots of this? So that's just that connection, right? Laura, as Lori was saying, right? Those relationships, make sure you're there and you're present.
Yeah, Barb, we have our calendar meetings. It's funny. They are led by our communications person as well. So yes.
All right. I'm going to tee up a quick last question so that we can wrap up in time for the next session. So maybe only one person will get to answer this, but someone asked if marketing staff use their personal phones for pictures and posting. Do you have a recommendation on a policy, stipend or storage? And I also want to add to that, do you have a process or a policy for adding them to your website?
We have an iPhone. I budgeted for that, and we bought a marketing iPhone. So we have a phone that's what we use. We also have great camera equipment too, really nice, SLRs. But the marketing phone is just so easy. It's got the good 3 cameras. We invested in that, and it's just a great way to go. We then archive at the end of every week. We archive our photos to Teams. We're a Microsoft school. And then we also archive to an external hard drive and make sure that those are all labeled. We have a naming convention with everything so that you can go back and find things.
Great. Thank you, Barb. And thank you to our panelists for today's Mindful School Marketing Live episode. It's been fantastic. I think we've all learned something new. Barb, Lori, Andrea, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Well, I think you put it in there, right? Our
Yes.
web addresses are on there. You can certainly find me just by going to renbrook.org. Happy to chat with people further. I love to expand my community. So reach out if you have questions or things you want to talk about. I love talking AI.
And you can also find me beyond our website. I am on LinkedIn. So that is my professional platform of choice. So you can definitely find me there as well.
Same
For me. Same for me as well. I'm on LinkedIn. Please send me a message. Please also, I'm looking at messages every day on our Instagram channel, and I encourage everybody to follow St. Luke's Episcopal School on Instagram as well. We'd love to have you check out all the great things happening here.
Awesome.
Y'all are amazing.
Yeah, another great episode and another great panel. Thank you to our panelists for making it happen. And thanks for sharing all your expertise.
Thanks for joining us on the Mindful School Marketing Podcast.
We'd love it if you pop into iTunes and leave a review, 5-star preferred. Let us know how you like the show. It helps us improve what we're doing and helps others find us too.